Hi everyone, this is Jeremy from Jeremy and the Movies. This is an exciting new video blog portion of Jeremy and the Movies where we continue the discussion of films going on in the world, going on in the local community, everywhere. What I want to talk about today is the new Alfonso Cuarón film Gravity, which stars Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. I saw it last night and it was my mind was blown. And I'm probably going to go into more detail about it in my blog. I'll write a full review on it pretty soon. But what I wanted to do today was talk about a few movies that were either directly or indirectly influential on the making of Gravity. Some of the films, the director Alfonso Cuarón has gone on record saying he was influenced by. Some other films just kind of are related either thematically or technically with Gravity as well. So I picked 5 titles from my own library of films that I wanted to talk about. Now, the first film I wanted to talk about, Alfonso Cuarón has gone on record saying he was influenced by it. It's Robert Bresson's A Man Escaped. Um, this is the story of a French resistance fighter who's captured by the Nazis and he's taken to a prisoner of war camp. And basically the whole film is about him trying to figure out a way to escape. And he's before he's executed. This this is directed by Robert Bresson, who is a French minimalist. He deals with not so much the actors. A lot of his actors are non-actors. They're expressionless. They speak in monotone. But Bresson wants his images to tell the story rather than and adding any theatricalities, which we usually associate to film. He's a great filmmaker, and he's one of my heroes personally. But the way it's linked to Gravity is that both films deal with this idea of isolation and loneliness and being cut off from the outside world. Um, in the case in Gravity, Sandra Bullock's character, who is trying to find a way home. She's up in space. She's stranded, and she's basically all by herself through most of the film, with the exception of George Clooney, who kind of appears in and out of the film every now and then. But she's pretty much on her own. And it's same with the character in A Man Escaped, who deals with living isolated life in prison, being cut off from his fellow prisoners. The only signs of life he gets are usually through whispers by the people who are in the prison cells beside him. But it's all that. They're both really good examinations of just a person being on their own. So definitely see A Man Escaped. It's a great film. The next film I want to talk about that was also influential on Alfonso Cuarón, or at least he said he was influenced by it, is Steven Spielberg's Duel. Um, this was actually the first film Steven Spielberg did. It was actually a television movie that was given a theatrical release after it was televised. But it deals with a man who is being pursued by a truck driver, and he's being driven off the road. He's basically he's basically being stalked by this truck driver. We don't give any reason why. We aren't given any reason why. Cuarón said that he was influenced in Duel that in the rhythm of the film, in the way that Spielberg makes it into sort of a roller coaster ride, where he builds the suspense so high till we can't take it anymore as an audience, and then we are given breaks in between, usually through humor or something like that. Cuarón builds Gravity in the same way. It's very suspenseful until we can't take it anymore. There are comedic breaks every now and then, but it's a huge fun ride from the beginning to end, and basically you can say that about any Spielberg thriller, that he kind of does it in the same way. But it all started with Duel, so highly recommended for people who are fans of Spielberg's work. If you want to watch, if you want to watch what he was like before he made it big with Jaws and Close Encounters, Duel is a great film for that. All right, now the next film I want to talk about is probably the most obvious comparison to Gravity as far as life in space is concerned, and it's Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Um, Obviously, a huge achievement in filmmaking. Um, if you haven't seen it, you really should. If you're any bit of a film buff. Um, Thematically, Gravity and 2001 are totally different. 2001 is more of a philosophical, existential look on who we are as human beings, where we're going, where we've been, and everything like that. It's kind of a metaphysical exploration with it's also a kind of a suspenseful science fiction thriller too. Gravity works as a survival film. It's about trying to get back home when all is lost and you don't have much to go on. But the way the films are related is just the way that they both depict a very realistic version of what it is to to be an astronaut in space. 2001 came in 1968. The special effects hold up just as good as any film made today. Like it's like you are actually in space when you watch this film. And the way that the astronauts move around in space very slowly, very methodically, it's not, there was no gravity, and Kubrick made a conscious decision to show that. um, Alfonso Cuarón, um, I think might be the first film to actually top 2001. 2001 came in 1968. We're 2013, and now we can actually talk about a film that may have topped 2001 in the way that it's depicted, and it's a very realistic depiction of what I think life would be like in space. I've never been in space, so I can't say for sure, but both films definitely show that realism. So now the next film is another kind of philosophical space aged science fiction tone poem or whatever you call it. It's Andrei Tarkovsky's Solaris. This was made actually about 5 years after 2001, and it was actually partly a criticism of 2001 because Tarkovsky didn't think Kubrick's film had a lot of emotion in it. He thought it was too cold and calculated, and he wanted to make a science fiction film that was emotional, that was about the human element. And agree with that criticism or not, it's a truly moving film about a loss and grief and um, and trying to get over it. And thematically, it's very similar to Gravity in that way. If you watch the film and you see Sandra Bullock's character, um, she is suffering from a grief, part of her character, without giving too much away, and part of the film is her trying to come to terms with it, and also her trying to find a reason to move on, to go on, to live life. It's kind of a very hopeful, uh, a very emotional ride in that respect. So go see. So I mean, don't go see, but seek out Solaris. It's a um, very good film. And also another link of Solaris. It was remade a few years, I think a few years ago, by Steven Soderbergh, starring George Clooney, who is also in Gravity. So there you go, another link for Solaris. So seek out that, and also the remake, which isn't bad as well. Now the last film I want to talk about, this really has nothing to do much with um, Gravity thematically, but One of the things it's becoming known for is the long extended takes with the camera movement, and that's become a trademark with Alfonso Cuarón. If you think back to when that all started, you have to go back all the way back to 1958 to a little film directed by Orson Welles. It's called Touch of Evil. Um, it's a film noir. It really has nothing to do with Gravity. Both stories are completely different, but historically, it's one of the first films to use long, uncut, extended takes, which obviously I think Alfonso Cuarón must have seen, and he was very influenced by. The opening shot in Touch of Evil is one of the seminal shots in all of film. It's a long extended take of a bomb being dropped off in the trunk of a car. We follow that car from a border city in Mexico across the border until the next cut where it explodes. It's over 2 minutes long. Alfonso Cuarón topped it with Gravity, and even his last film, Children of Men, as well. But obviously, a very huge influence on his cinematic style. So that's it. Those are five films, five very good films, classics even that I think you should seek out if you like Gravity. Definitely seek out these titles and just to fill your cinematic, you know, palette, I guess. Um, Definitely go see Gravity. It's the best movie I've seen so far this year. Huge cinematic experience. Seeing it on the biggest screen you possibly can. If you got an IMAX screen, I am jealous and I recommend that you see it on that. So definitely go see it. I'll be back with more stuff to talk about movie wise. Check out my blog. It's jeremyandthemovies.blogspot.com. I'll be posting a real review of Gravity on it pretty soon. So that's it for now. Hope to see you soon. Bye.